Hello guys, I'm so excited that I finally have just received my new book, which is Training, Nutrition, Supplementation in Bodybuilding. You can purchase this book on Amazon. In this book, you're going to find basics regarding how to eat, how to work out, and what supplements to use in bodybuilding, and along with my other book, which is already available, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, actually speaks about drug use, which is the improved version of my very first book, The PEDs Used in Sports. Somebody has the whole package of knowledge in order to fulfill his targets. Thank you so far for the positive feedback and the good comments, and I hope you do like it.
Hey everybody, welcome to Ask Dr. Testosterone, starring Dr. George Touliatos, brought to you by his books. First, Bodybuilding, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And the new one, available on Amazon also, Training, Nutrition, and Supplementation in Bodybuilding. I will have my copy to hold up very, very soon. Now, all the way from Greece, Athens, Greece, Dr. George Touliatos. How are you, doctor?
Good, Ron. I hope you have it by next week so we can promote it. You know, I had a call by Steve Blackman on Friday to discuss about a new project. I'm thinking about to launch a supplement series, Dr. T approved,
Wow. Okay.
Under the supervision, of course, of Address Media and Steve. And so we'll see how it goes.
Oh, okay.
So I sent him about 15 formulas. Each of one consists of 6 elements, and he'll decide what he likes, and it's brains and money, together.
Yeah, for the viewers out there that don't know, Steve Bleckman that owns Muscular Development now, and he has AML, Advanced Molecular Nutrition. His company for many years with his brothers was Twin Lab, which was they were so good.
Pioneer, with the glass bottles,
Yeah, I mean, anybody who came up in bodybuilding in the late 80s and the 90s, we all used Twin Lab products. They were top
you remember
shelf.
The triple whey fuel, whey concentrate, isolated, hydrolysated all in one.
That one I never used, but I used Ultra Fuel, Ripped Fuel. Everything was like fuel.
Super Gainage fuel.
Mega, yeah, they had some great stuff. That was a good.
The wafers.
Yeah, the wafers. I never used those, but good times. Well, doctor, we got a lot of questions. Just to let everyone know, we did skip one very long one. If it's this long on the page, we just can't. It's too much, guys. It takes me like 5 minutes just to read the question, and then typically there's like 10 questions within that paragraph, and it'll be a whole show. So please, guys, keep it limited to try about this much on the page, if that makes sense. So without any further ado, doctor, I'm going to start with one from Switzerland. This is a gentleman and his girlfriend want some advice on their first cycles. So my girlfriend and I are fans. Could you give us general cycle information for beginner female and male bodybuilder doses? So this is what they were thinking of having the female begin with. 10 milligrams of Anavar per day, 100 milligrams Primobolan per week. That's going to stay consistent. Clenbuterol is going to start at 20 micrograms a day, week 1. It's going to go to 40 micrograms for weeks 2 and 3, 60 micrograms for weeks 4 through 6, and finish up with 80 micrograms for weeks 7 and 8. Do you want to talk about the female dose before we get to the male dose? Okay.
So she's a beginner.
Yeah.
So for a beginner, I would I split the cycles into bulking and cutting phase. So for bulking for women, she can use the version of 50 milligrams deca per week. So 50 milligrams of deca per week. Deca actually is low androgenic,
right?
And she can add to this perhaps 100 milligrams of Primobolan afterwards. And then keep the Anavar and the Winstrol that she doesn't mention about the cutting phase.
Okay.
Now, the Anavar has to be used along with the Winstrol, the orals, 3 times a day. Now, the injectable Winstrol, it's too much for a woman. It's 50 milligrams. Now, if this is supposed to be injected every other day, then it comes to 200 milligrams for a woman. And then the androgenic side effects will eventually, appear.
Yeah.
So I guess orals, so 30 and 30-60 to the cutting phase. And to the off season, she can use the first 4 weeks deca and the other 4 weeks Primo to 1 ml only. Now about the clenbuterol, you don't need that during the off season. She needs those calories in order to grow.
Yeah.
And afterwards for the cutting phase, I prefer, the straight arrow with Primo, because if she elevates, so 2 days on, 2 days off, because if she elevates, then she's gonna develop headaches, out of blood pressure, speeding heart rate, insomnia, and then things become serious, chest pain, even in women, we had some cases that women died after menopause, in the mid 40s after they retired.
Yeah.
Anyway, do not overdo, because she's a starter, she's a beginner. I mean, if she abuses seriously now, what next?
Yeah, well,
it's a very delicate with women about the feminine side.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we've all seen women who have kind of androgenized themselves, using things that they didn't know any better. It's usually a boyfriend or a coach puts them on a cycle.
Perhaps a little bit of GH extra or some Cytomel, That's okay. Some DHEA, that's all.
Okay. Now for the male, he was thinking of using 250 milligrams test a week, 60 milligrams Anavar a day, 250 milligrams Winstrol a week, 400 milligrams Primobolan a week. So that's what he
now,
wanted.
For a beginner, this sounds like cutting phase. So I wouldn't advise for a beginner to use 17 alkylated in the first cycle. So he can use some Primobolan, that's all, and some testosterone.
Yeah.
The first cutting cycle, and some clenbuterol also, but keep the 17 alkylated for the next cycle,
Gotcha. He wanted to know if they would both need a PCT at the end of this cycle.
Oh, men, absolutely they need. Women, they do not need. But men, of course, they do.
Yeah.
So, yes, leave 1 week to clear or 2 weeks to clear the system, the esters, the compounds, and then start low with HEG, moderate doses, 2 weeks, another 2 weeks, the serums. We've said that,
Yeah, every week.
And wait, of course, some time for the HPTA to recover. And in this period, then you're supposed to restore your lipids, your liver enzymes also, your hematocrit. So,
okay.
Yes.
And his final question is, would you prefer the cycle to be 12 weeks or longer term, maybe all year, the whole year?
Come on, 8 weeks.
Wow.
8 weeks for a start is good, because they have fresh receptors. They utilize everything they suck up, okay? Take it easy, guys, okay?
Yeah. As far as going all year without a break on steroids, yeah, don't do that, guy. Don't do that, because I saw his pictures. He's a young guy. He's probably not even 30.
You're a virgin guy in the steroids, and your all the compounds are sucked up with the receptors. Your body's fresh. You don't need it to abuse.
Right. Okay. Thank you. That was question 1. Number 2. Can you explain the dosage of Letrozol while on testosterone? How much AI should you use for that? For what dosage of testosterone?
Well, it depends on the dose of the testosterone, but in testosterone replacement therapy, I do not suggest Letrozol at all, because 200 milligrams are not enough to cause you that severe elevation of estrogens. Besides, Letrozol is more potent than anastrozole, and it's a crime to use it. Now, in bodybuilding cycles, it depends. If you use half a gram, perhaps you're gonna need 5 milligrams of Letrozol per week, 2.5 twice. Okay. Now, if you use 250, I don't think this depends on the individual. Perhaps 2.5 milligrams per week are enough. But 250 is not a serious cycle. Anyway, it depends on the dose. But Letrozol, mind that it's more potent than anastrozole, and of course, it's not like exemestane, it's suicidal, but it can have some distortions in the lipids, of course, perhaps in the liver also.
Yeah. Okay. Curious to know if Dr. T thinks Proviron at 25 milligrams a day can be used long-term along with TRT. Also, would like to know if it needs to be taken twice a day, or is once a day okay?
Now, this depends on the lipid profile of the individual, okay? If he trains, if he does cardio, if he smokes, if he eats clean, if he's predisposed to high or low HDL. Now, 25 milligrams, I don't think they're going to have a serious impact. They're not at all liver toxic. But my concern is the long-term use to the HDL, mainly. So you can blast and cruise 25 and 50, you know, like this. And it depends. You have to see on your labs how is the HDL. This is my main concern.
Yeah, because the last part of his question was, is Proviron at that dosage hard on the liver? Which you say could be.
No. The liver, no. Low dose, no.
No.
Besides, it's not 70 alkylated, you know.
Okay.
And it's very well tolerated.
Should he expect hair loss? Was his final question.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh boy.
I have not, because I have not the genes, you know. So
yeah, look at all that hair. That is a lot of hair. Whew. Where's mine going? Anyway. Next one. Hey George, have you ever visited Australia? There is a large Greek community in Melbourne who I'm sure would welcome you with open arms.
Never, but I have a good friend who's an active pro, Semionidis, in Melbourne. You know, he visited Athens 3 times, you know, for the past 10 years. You know, we're good friends. He has my books. He has competed against Gaspari in Chicago. You know, I know there are a lot of, you know, Melbourne is #3 city in the world with Greeks. You know.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's
about 1 million Greeks. You know.
What, 1 million? You said?
1 million. Yes.
How many Greeks live in Greece?
10 million, and worldwide 15.
Wow, so there's more Greeks outside of Greece than there are in Greece.
One third. Yeah.
No, you just said is there 15 million Greeks around the world and there's only 10 million Greeks in Greece?
No, totally 15, and
okay,
Greece
gotcha.
10. So 5 million spread out the world.
Okay, because I don't want to offend anybody, but I think we have more Mexicans in the United States than in Mexico, but that's because 1/3 of the United States used to be Mexico. We stole it. Anyway, let's go. Next one. Question for Dr. T. What are the benefits and side effects of nicotine as a performance enhancer?
Now, nicotine is a nootropic, and it has some benefits in, you know, tunnel vision, concentration, you know, cognitive function. And actually, nicotine does not relax you. So smoking a cigarette does not relax you. Actually, it doesn't. I mean, I cannot say that it stresses you, but you can clear sharp. You can think sharp. You know, you have more clear thoughts. So it's not a good idea taking, or you want to take a sleep and smoke, because nicotine does vasoconstriction. You know, sympathetic mimetic. So in this way, it constricts the coronary arteries, and less oxygen goes into the heart, you know, also into the brain. Also, you inhale CO, carbon monoxide, which is actually something that is the last thing the brain needs in order to think, you know.
Yeah.
And through this mechanism, then hemoglobin elevates through this hypoxic stimulus. Yeah. You can also use nicotine in chewing gums, but mind that nicotine attracts platelets. So it does the so-called platelet aggregation, because it deforms the endothelium of the arteries. So when you have not a smooth endothelium, but it's kind of, you know, aggressive, chunky, then this is a signal for the platelets to go and aggregate and perform a clot. That's why smokers have a bud in the shape of endothelium. You know, the line is not smooth. And in this way also vasoconstriction and this not smooth surface then attracts the platelets. That's why they have higher clotting tendencies, you know. And when then blood pressure and cholesterol, then we have atherosclerosis.
Okay. Yeah.
That means either occlusion or rupture, you know.
So I know it's not a performance enhancer. I know a lot of bodybuilders.
It's an outdrop. You can think. You can go to. You can train better. You can drive also. You know.
They use it to cut the appetite too when they're dieting, so they don't experience the hunger pangs.
Very good. Yes.
I did read something a while back about why cigarettes relax people. It's not anything in the cigarette.
Marijuana and weed.
No, yeah, obviously marijuana, but I'm saying the breathing. It's that slow breathing. It's the controlled breathing. That's what relaxes them. It has nothing to do with the actual cigarette itself. So it could be a placebo with no nicotine or anything in it. Another HCG question. We get these every week. Hey, doctor, you mentioned 1,000 IU's HCG for 2 weeks. Is that 1,000 once a week, or 250 4 times a week, or 500 twice a week? Or does it not even matter as long as you get 1,000 total for the week?
You mean about he speaks about PCT?
I assume so. I don't know why else somebody
Now, if
would
it's
use an HCG.
obesity, we use 1,000 every 3 days,
Okay.
or 1,500, so 1,500.
Okay. So every three
Now, if,
days.
huh?
So every 3 days you would take it.
Yeah, but in TRT you can use 500 twice a week, so 1,000, but split it, you know. But in PCT we need to start kicking the balls, so we need a moderate higher dose and more frequent, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Next one. I never heard of this. I never heard a lot of these drugs. Is Raloccifine a better SERM than Tamoxifen, especially if used during cycle? It binds to the breast 10 times stronger than Tamoxifen and also does not affect bone mineral density.
Yes,
Raloccifine.
Raloccifine it's a serum, you know, but the point is, it's used by the doctors and the oncologists, not for breast cancer, but for osteoporosis and osteopenia, you know, because in breast cancer you give aromatase inhibitors, and of course those substances eat the bones because of the lack of estrogens. So Raloccifene helps for the bone mineral density to increase, you know.
Yeah.
And so in order to avoid fractures.
Okay.
So
So it is.
it's not used in, you know, for the sake of gynecomastia, you know, or nipples, you know. It's for another purpose totally.
Okay. Okay. Next one is, what DHT derivatives cause the most hair loss? And is there a dose that's safer?
Well, I guess all DHT derivatives, but actually the synthetic DHT itself, which is Masteron, Proviron, drostanolone, or mesterolone, and also to the individual accordingly, because I'm not genetically predisposed and I have thick hair even back here, you know.
Yeah.
So Primo, Winstrol, and Anavar, methanolone, stanozolol, and oxandrolone, plus the other two compounds,
Yeah.
they can lead you, you know. Also, I'm sorry, oxymetholone too.
Anavar.
Yes,
Okay.
they can give you this hair thinning, you know. But also, if you use it along with testosterone, that itself produces DHT, you know.
Right. Yeah. I don't think any of these guys out there would think Anavar was going to lead to hair loss, but it does. Interesting. Here's an odd question. Odd because I've never thought about this. I hear all the time that estrogen lives in our body fat. So if estrogen levels are elevated, does that sabotage or inhibit the fat burning process?
Yeah, this is a good point that I had also. The first time I had an interview in the US was the Superhuman Radio of Color North in October of 2015.
Yeah.
And we had this kind of discussion. I remind him this last week that bodybuilders tend to kill the estrogens in order to look leaner, because estrogens are the female hormones and they're supposed to make you look flabby, you know, and water retention and fat and estrogens are almost similarly, you know. When one thing grows, the other also grows. So it's undisputable that fat tissue, adipose tissue, contains aromatase enzyme, and the more fat you have, then the estrogens you're gonna produce. Okay,
Yeah.
both to men and women. However, it doesn't mean that by killing your estrogens, your fat burning process will be better. Actually, Carl Nord told me that, and I'm sure don't understand the mechanic of action, but he told me that when your E2 is super low, then your fat burning process is sabotaged. However, bodybuilders need to lower the estrogens in order to look drained, you know,
Yeah.
to look really low in body fat. But you cannot find anything online on that because estrogens are supposed to be the female hormones. So this does not apply strictly to men, you know. Besides, when we have estrogen values in the lab range, you know, they refer to female numbers. You know, it's not, I mean, officially for men. Okay,
Yeah.
they estradiol.
Right. But we can, especially those of us using gear, we do get very high estradiol numbers, estradiol.
Yeah, off season, yes, but when you want to have a contest, you want to kill estrogen, you know.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, I never was able to get my lower body really, really shredded, the glutes and hams, until I started putting AIs in. Because
Oh, yeah.
I never used them. That was never just part of my program. But last few shows I
Imagine
did.
how difficult it would be for Gaspari to have striated glutes in 1987 with just Novadex.
Genetics. Yeah. Do you
And
remember
genetics, hard diet, hard draining.
Yeah. But I'm saying, I think certain people, like, do you remember that guy, they call him Glutzilla, Tommy Thorvaldsen from, was it
I
Finland?
remember also another Turkish guy,
Hamdullah.
Abdullah.
Yeah.
Yes. Man, it was,
Hamdullah Ikutlu. That guy had the
yes.
craziest striated glutes. Yeah. We have an actual, a very specific supplement question. Here we go. I'd like to hear the doc's opinion on a supplement multivitamin Animal Pack Original. Would he suggest its use all year round or in cycles? When is the best time during the day to consume the vitamins? How many packs a day? Can Animal Pack cause elevations in liver enzymes? They're talking about the Animal Pack here like it's a drug. What do you think?
I'm taking 2 animal packs a day, first in the morning with breakfast or right after my breakfast,
Okay.
I prefer the packs because everything is, it's different taking a pack that everything is separated. You have more chances of taking each element rather than a multivitamin, everything in a capsule,
Yeah.
Of course, they are more expensive, but I never seen some serious distortions in lab work with packs,
Yeah.
Of course, the recommended daily apply is double or 3 times of some elements done. Of course, 60 milligrams of vitamin C do nothing to the sedentary people.
60 milligrams? That's enough for my thumb.
If you're a smoker, you need at least half a gram,
Oh, I get 15, probably about, I think I do 1,500 milligrams of vitamin C a day, 1,500.
Well, 1 gram is something classic, stand. During winter time, more,
Yeah, it's been during COVID-19 time. More.
Yeah.
Anyway, here's one about Tren. Tren makes my stomach feel upset, bloated. What can I do to help with this?
Well, stop it and have a gastroscopy,
No, you can't stop the trend. They got to be on trend. Trend's awesome.
I never heard that, usually the pills make you feel like that.
Yeah, Trend, Trend's got some very specific, the Trend cough when you inject. People
This
get
is something different, but the stomach.
I never heard that. I mean, night sweats, there's a lot of things, you get Trend rage, but I never heard of that. Okay, another sickness question. Down with the sickness. Fever for a minimum 4 days. He gets a fever for 4 days after every time he administers testosterone. I tried different pins, rotation of sites, microdosing, pharmaceutical grades, etc., but still it happens. It forced me to discontinue cycles several times. I would like to start a cycle in this COVID situation, but still afraid of fever. What's your opinion on starting a cycle with this pandemic situation?
Well, now the only thing that passes my mind is that he doesn't sterilize well the area, because if it's pharmaceutical grade, then the bottle is not contaminated or the ampoule.
Right.
Usually with underground labs, you experience this because they're contaminated, and it's more likely to happen with water-based solutions.
Yeah.
Like suspension testosterone, for instance.
Yeah, because
Anyway,
he doesn't say anything about inflammation at the injection site or anything like that. Just a general fever, which that's odd. I've had that, but
if the gyms are closed, it's not a good idea unless you have equipped your home with some stuff.
Right.
So wait, I guess he lives in the east coast of U.S. when the gyms are closed in your city, perhaps.
Oh, maybe, yeah. Sucks for those guys. But there's nothing about being on gear that makes you more susceptible to catching COVID. Not that we know of.
We talk about this during the quarantine, and the only link I had is that abusing gear and overtraining and dieting will lower your cortisol, which is responsible. Will lower your cortisol in the long term because cortisol is supposed for the immune, but when it lowers, such as in the adrenal fatigue, then your immune response is impaired.
Okay.
But so I posted yesterday because I had an idea from Thomas O'Connor. Men who are already hypogonadic and enter the ICU, and these are I'm referring to men over 70, and they're hypogonadic. They have less immunity to the cataract of the cytokines, the inflammatory cytokines. So if you are hypogonadal, you have less chances to survive in this storm of the cytokines, you know. Also, being in the ICU, you are injected with corticosteroids, and this all inflammatory stress with the cortisol lowers your testosterone. But I'm talking in first place, when somebody has COVID and he's hypogonadal, he has less chance of survival because of a low testosterone, that he cannot, interact with this cytokine storm.
Wow. Well, there you go. So you're better off having at least normal, maybe a little higher than normal testosterone. Okay, here's a question. So if the ml are 250 milligrams, so I think what he's talking about is an individual amp or something, but you want to inject half or 125 milligrams, is it safe to use in 2 separate doses from the same vial, or is it more possibility to get infected? And once I'll get to the second question after, but we use multi-dose vials all the time as bodybuilders. There is always, as soon as you puncture that rubber seal, there is always a risk of contamination, right?
Yeah, but you always sterilize this. Another way is to put it in the fridge, because in fridge the microbes do not cultivate, the low temperature. And another way is to suck it all in a large, syringe, and then perform the microdoses. This is how I do it,
Do you refrigerate all your gear?
My testosterone, my DECA, yes, because I use microdoses in 1 ml needle. So it comes in ampoules in Greece.
Right.
1 ml. So I drop 1 ml into the insulin, and then I put it to the fridge, and then every morning I take it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Next one. Does Dr. T feel it's unsafe to use 0.25 milligrams of Arimidex 2 times a week? I got to go back to the second. I'm sorry. There was one last part to that other question. Is it true the leaner you are, the less testosterone is aromatized?
Well, there was some time, I guess 5 years ago, when Dr. Saya from Florida, who's a pioneer in TRT, he was in DeFi also. Dr. Saya said that if you inject into the fat, so subcutaneous, doesn't mean that you will aromatize, because the compound enters the ester detaches from the compound, so testosterone is bioavailable to be used after it enters the circulation, so it does not interfere with fat. Now, if a man is obese, of course, and has a BMI of over 30 and is not trained, and he eventually he aromatizes more because of the body fat that he has, because the aromatase enzyme is located into the adipose tissue.
Okay.
But I don't think that substantially the estrogens will elevate if you are during the off season, and you inject testosterone. Gotcha. Because think about, just before the show, we inject testosterone suspension, and we develop gynecomastia even though we are 5%. I've had that personally. I injected 400 milligrams a day before the show, and the next day, even though I was taking Arimidex and I was 5%, I had a little bit of, my nipple was one of them was protruding. So it was irrelevant with the body fat percentage,
Gotcha.
It's about the dose, I think.
Okay. Okay, so now we can move on to, do you feel it's unsafe to use 0.25 milligrams of Arimidex 2 times a week? I stopped using an AI months ago after listening to many podcasts stating the dangers of them, but actually felt better with them. And my erections and overall physique were harder with the AI. I'm 47 years old, 5'11", 185, very lean.
It depends on the dose. He hasn't mentioned here the dose.
Well, he was doing 0.25 milligrams twice a week.
No, the dose of the testosterone.
Oh, yeah.
Without that, you cannot speak about, but I'm against using frequent the aromatase inhibitors. Just use it occasionally, and also verified by lab work. And not for doses below 200, it's not serious, this.
Yeah, I wonder how
because they're going to have an impact on HDL, on bone mineral density,
Okay. Now, do you want to answer this next question about if you're single, if you live alone and all that?
I want to explain. Listen, this guy has to understand that being with a woman is a trouble.
Well, let me read the question first, and then you can talk about how women are trouble. Out of curiosity, is Dr. T single? Is he living alone? If he is, how is he managing the stress? because I had a girlfriend. We separated due to different reasons. Now I'm living alone. Sometimes I feel stressed. I'm afraid of having a girlfriend again because I had a hard time with my ex before. Wow, having a hard time with women. I never heard that before. So go ahead. Let's tell us.
Yeah, I believe that the women are trouble in a way, because having sex and getting along with a woman is not a part of the day. You know, it's just a fraction of the day. You know,
Yeah.
so basically, relationships are very demanding. You know, and doesn't mean that because she's hot or because you like her and you had a great time that this is gonna be for the rest of 23 hours. You know.
Yeah.
So my best moments, the most creative, when I was single and I write my 7 books, you know, and I did my travels in the U.S., you know, and things like that. Now being with a woman is very demanding, drains all your energy, you know. It's good when you are high, but this doesn't last for a long time, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't have stress. I have my pets. I have myself to train, to take care of myself. Now the woman says blah blah blah, this and that. You know, there's always a competition who is hotter, who's more attractive. You know, the social media. Who do you like? Who did this like? You know, it's outrageous. It's crazy.
Yeah. Social media has definitely made relationships between men and women much more difficult and complicated.
Yes.
Much more. Oof. Yeah.
I cherish the moments of the 90s. You know, when we were having the classic, you know, flirt, and we giving the phone number. And we're just waiting for the phone to ring at home, you know.
Yeah.
And now everybody is taped in this damn cell phone, you know.
Good old days. Oh boy. Okay. Final question, doctor. Is oral testosterone as effective as the injectable one? And what must the dose of oral to equal the one of 500 milligrams of injectable? Restandol is testosterone dequinate in Greece. Does it need prescription to get from Greek pharmacy? Is Restandol an oral testosterone?
Yes, this is so-called Vial.
Oh.
It's available. You don't need the prescription. The 30 capsules cost $10.
Wow.
But you have to know out from the 40 milligrams, only the 4 are absorbed. Only the 10%, the 90% is wasted.
Oh my God.
So plus the fact that you're going to need a constant supply with every meal.
Yeah.
And it requires a meal because it passes through the lymphatic circulation, does not affect the liver, but it needs some fat to be absorbed. So it doesn't go to the stomach because the stomach kills the testosterone. You know, it does not survive there.
Huh.
And you need a constant supply. So basically, if you need 10 pills a day, then every 3 days you're gonna need 10 bags. You know, it's expensive.
That's not bad.
And I'm not sure
GH.
about the levels. You know, because you have to check it out. My highest was taking the whole pack one day because I ran out of testosterone. I had to guest pose, you know. So I had 30 pills, you know.
30 pills a day, yeah. I mean, but 90% of it is wasted. 90%.
Yeah.
Oh, that's horrible.
The same as transdermal. But and another thing, when I wanted to have sex with the whole, you know, I took the whole pack before, you know.
Right. Well, that'd be a good thing or a bad thing? Good thing, right?
Yeah, it was reasonable, yes.
Oh, okay. I mean, you know.
But it's not a good idea. Now, there were other forms of testosterone like allotestin, which is testosterone derivative, or methyl testosterone, which is very liver toxic as well, and aromatized. And methyl testosterone was used here in the gums from boxers, you know, before the fight. Yes.
Right.
It was available in Greece as Teston.
Teston.
Yeah, Teston, yes. But these are no longer used because of the liver toxicity and the highly aromatized, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure who's taking now Andriol, you know, or Restandol in Greece.
I haven't heard that word Andriol in 20 years. I don't know who's taking Andriol these days or where they're getting it. Greece, I guess. But well, doctor, that is all the questions. We have Dr. T Tuesdays, everybody. Every Tuesday on Muscular Development is Dr. Tuliatos. Dr. T Tuesdays. That's when we post this video up on the website and on the YouTube channel. And there's a new article every week. What are we talking about? What are you talking about?
Supplements.
There you go. Yeah, perfect timing because you're possibly coming out with your own supplement line. Yeah. So, guys, your questions, if you have questions for the doctor, you can leave them right here in the comments underneath the YouTube video. Try to keep them kind of short. If you give us your whole medical and life history and it's going to take me 10 minutes to read it, we just don't have time. This is not like a 2-hour podcast. So try to keep them brief, and we'll do our best job. The doctor's very generous with his time and his knowledge. We appreciate that very much. So please try to be brief and get to the point with your questions, because we want to help you. We really do. That's all. Thank you, doctor, for taking the time again. Next week, hopefully I'll be able to hold up both books. I'll be like this.
Oh, yeah.
But in the meantime, you can get that one on Bodybuilding, the Good, Bad, and the Ugly on Amazon.com. Can you get the new one on Amazon as well?
Yes, of course. And it's on DMD, the next issue of August. My advertisement is about the new book. Oh,
awesome. Excellent. All right.
Yeah.
Well, doctor, thank you so much for taking the time and helping all these people, all these men around the world, a couple women here and there out. They need the expertise of an actual medical doctor, and it's hard to get that when it comes to performance enhancing drugs, as you know. So that's it, man. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. And everybody, thank you for watching Ask Dr. Testosterone. Please subscribe to the channel. Smash that bell thing so you know when we put out new videos. Share these videos if you like them. We want to keep doing. We want to reach as many people as possible. We really do want to help. So that's it. We'll see you next time.